Hi, I'm Chris King. I'm joined today by Director of Investor Relations at Kingfisher plc, Sarah Levy. Kingfisher trades on OTCQX, our best market, under ticker symbol KGFHF and KGFHY. Sarah, welcome.
Hi, thanks very much, Chris.
So Kingfisher's a leading home improvement company with over 1,100 stores in 10 countries in Europe. Could you tell us a little bit more about the business?
Yeah, so we're all across Europe. We're sometimes referred to as the Home Depot of Europe. And we have a new plan which we announced at the beginning of last year. An exciting plan, but it's a 5-year plan, so we're now at the end of year 1. So we're now cracking on with year 2. But we're in various countries across Europe. Our biggest markets are the UK, France, and they're about the same size, so about 40% of the business. And then the next biggest market for us is Poland. But we're also in Turkey, we're in Romania, we're in Russia, we're in Spain, and we're also in Portugal.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned the 5-year plan announced last year. Tell us a little bit about the key goals and some of the accomplishments so far.
Now, at the end of the first year, we started to deliver some of the profit upsides. We've delivered 30 million of the 500. It's a classic sort of transformation plan in the sense of a lot of it is back-end weighted. But just to give you a flavour for what we're trying to do, the 9 businesses have all been across the different countries. The 9 businesses, that's thinking about Portugal and Spain together as one, so that's the 10 countries, have all been working independently up until now. And this plan is about unifying those businesses, and hence why we call the plan One Kingfisher.
Okay, thank you. So how is Kingfisher evolving its retail strategy to accommodate a consumer that more so will shop online versus the retail sort of traditional bricks and mortar store?
Well, actually, we think both are really important. So if you're thinking about the last time that you went to visit a Home Depot, for example, probably wasn't that often. But actually, a lot of our customer journeys, so take a bathroom project, nearly all of them start online. People looking for inspiration, ideas. That's something that used to happen in magazines or on telly. But no, that's been replaced by online. Then it gets to a point where this is a big, an emotional purchase for people if they're updating their bathroom. Same would be for other projects like kitchens. And they get to a point they need to come into stores and actually see and touch the product before they're actually prepared to buy. So the plan is addressing both. So it's a plan that really focuses on the customer. They're at the heart of everything that we do. And if I talk more about bathrooms, that's one of our first categories where we went into 1,000 homes across Europe. And actually having come up with lots and lots of research around how customers really use their bathrooms. It's a project which is difficult to achieve on their own. They need help and advice along the way. But actually one of the areas that's really missing across all retail businesses across Europe is actually finding slim storage, which may sound quite basic, but actually the actual reality of a customer home, not so much I think in the US where houses are typically bigger, although not in Manhattan to be fair, is the typical bathroom is less than 7 square metres, and it's a very busy room in the house. It's used a lot, so actually slim storage is key, so people can put their nail varnish and shower gels and towels into the space. It's not a need that's being fulfilled today. So Kingfisher actually, they've created their own range from scratch. We've designed it ourselves. We own the design, the specification, and now it's all being made for us in factories across China and Italy. It's now arriving in stores, and we're quite excited about seeing that coming into the sales numbers later this year.
Great, thank you. And speaking of sales, you recently announced full year 2016 financials.
That's right.
Share with us some of the highlights and outlook for 2017.
Yeah, I mean, our reality in terms of outlook is that, the UK, everyone's got questions about Brexit and what impact is that having on sales. We've been quite open and said that so far there hasn't been a big impact. In the UK, we have 2 businesses, B&Q, which is a bit like Home Depot, and also a more trade-ended business called Screwfix. And in the past, where there's been pressure on consumers, what we've seen is that particularly the trade customer, he stops buying for himself. He buys the things that he needs to do the job that he's working on, but he stops buying things for himself. So that will be things like expensive power tools or workwear. And so far, we haven't seen any impact on either of those categories. In fact, they're still both growing. I think Going into this year, the outlook is more uncertain because what we're now starting to see is that prices are starting to go up across retail. And so ultimately, with wage inflation being lower than what's forecast around price inflation, consumer sort of disposable incomes will be squeezed and people will have to make choices. But as I said, we have not seen an impact yet. In our second largest market in France, got the election coming up soon, so sort of looking out for that and all the news flow on that, which we're getting daily. We remain cautious on France because what customers are doing in France, consumers are doing, is they're saving their money. So the savings rates are going up and they're sort of double digit, very high in France. People are sort of tucking money under the mattress and waiting to see what happens post the election.
Okay, thank you. Tell us a little bit about your investor relations strategy here in the States.
Well, it's been a conscious plan actually for many years. I refer to us as being sort of the Home Depot of Europe, and actually a lot of our investors in the US are also investors in either Home Depot or Lowe's. So they like the sector and we're the natural fit looking over to Europe because we're the only listed home improvement retailer or company in Europe. So we were very conscious of that and started to target the US investor market. And actually, unusually for a business that doesn't have any operations in the US, nearly half of our register is actually in the US, and that's across the ADR program and also the ordinary share register. But we do go everywhere. In fact, we obviously do a lot of investor roadshows, about 500 meetings last year in total across the department. We involve the CEO and CFO as well, but investor relations team does most of it, as you would expect. A lot into Europe as well, and we started going to Asia. We go there once a year, and even South Africa, where actually the rules have changed recently, so there's more assets that can be invested internationally as well. So it's something that we're trying to explore. So we're sort of open to really going wherever we need to go to interest active fund managers in our story.
Right. Can you tell me a little bit about how OTCQX or trading on OTCQX has assisted you in growing your shareholder base here?
Yeah, I mean, we've been on the platform for some years now, and it's all about just increasing visibility around where we are, who we are, and what we're doing, hence why we're doing this today. So it all sort of fits into the wider investor relations strategy.
Thank you. Well, Sarah, we appreciate you coming by today, visiting the centre, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.